There we go. So, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Find Your Zone of Genius. We've got some fun bits and pieces for you today. I will be going through the session, asking for a little bit of input as we go, but nothing too onerous, and you don't have to switch cameras on if you don't want to. You may stay hidden. If you want to open up mics at any point, you're very welcome to. Be great if you can put some things in chat so I know you're still alive. That's always good. And I will be asking you a few questions as we go through, but as I said, it's low-key, it's just relaxed. We need a spot of relaxation now that we are in December. We are in the countdown zone. A little bit about me and about us, for those who don't know us. I'm Rachel Veal and I work with Becky Wilding-Jones, who's not here today. We are HR professionals first and foremost, and also train coaches, and we work in the sphere of careers, and particularly working with women returners, people who've been impacted by redundancy, and those looking to make a career change. So our key program is the Career Relaunch Program, which for those who are feeling a little bit lost, not sure what to do next. And we work through all the clarity piece, and we work through the practical piece of job search, CVs, LinkedIn, and the rest of it. Now, what are we up to today? So today it's a short but fun session, and it's looking a bit deeper than the old transferable skills, Yawn. We're looking at skills, of course, and I'll be introducing you to the skills zone, but we're looking at it a little bit deeper, and we're looking at this body of work around the zone of genius, because it's really great into tapping into what you do and what you do well, and what you do in a unique sense. Will we get there in 25 minutes? I'd be impressed. I'd be impressed if any of you can get them 25 minutes. This is sowing the seeds. It's giving you a few ideas to take away. By all means, scribble stuff down now. I usually send the slides out afterwards, so you don't have to take down what is on the slide, but take down any stuff which is going for you, or put it in your phones or whatever. I can't do that. I still like to scribble on a bit of paper. I have lots of bits of paper. That's just me. So today's mini goal is to help you to begin to define your own unique skill set, and I'll give you something to take away and to think about when you need something a little bit deeper, a little bit more long-term than Christmas dinner. So today's session is essentially about talents or skills. Why is that important? Skills identification and skills matching is such a big part of selling yourself. And that could be on paper, so your CV, it could be your online presence, it could be your LinkedIn profile, it could be your in-person elevator pitch as you engage people about your job search, or the job interview itself where you go for the big skills sell. It's also very much part of developing your brand and your unique selling point, your USP, so that you stand out in the marketplace. It's a good jobs market at the moment, but we all know that things can change. So wherever you are, whether it's a good jobs market, whether it's a poor jobs market, you still need to stand out. You still need to be the best qualified, the most interesting person in the room. So this is useful for anyone in the job search process, and it's very important indeed for those looking to change their careers, looking to pivot. Now, there's a really popular misconception around career change that it's better to have more options. So I need flex and I could do lots of things, so I'm going to keep my options open. This sounds really sensible, except that it makes life and job search so much more difficult. It's really hard to keep your eye open for lots of things, and it's really awkward to explain yourself. For example, to a recruitment consultant, I want to do something part-time, and I know it's in the arena vaguely of what I did before, but I'm not quite sure. What a recruitment consultant wants is square peg, square hole, job done. It's difficult to explain yourself to your friends and to your wider contacts. Again, it's the I want to do something part-time is really difficult for somebody to deal with. It's really difficult for somebody to help you with. So you need to have focus and you need to have accuracy. And it doesn't matter if this is a bit of a construct, an artificial construct, in a way you're reinventing yourself, you're stepping out behind the curtain. Tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be ... So it doesn't matter that it's an artificial construct, but to get help, and people like to be helpful, in my opinion, to get help, you need to be specific. Oh, Caroline, I say on the part-time thing, yeah, I'll come to a few of those points in a moment. There is a lack of part-time stuff advertised, and it is still an issue. It's still an issue that we need to deal with, but definitely. Okay, so skills work is this important part of the career clarity jigsaw, along with understanding your personal values or principles so that you find the right organisation to work for and the right people to work for. Most people are looking for that sense of meaning in midlife, mid-career, so that you get through work, that you can get up out of bed on a cold February Monday morning. It also fits with the practicalities. What aspect of flexible working do you want or need in your life at this stage? It's all jigsaw pieces. Let's look then at the skills continuum. We definitely develop and identify our skills over time. Knowledge skills, if we start at one end, this is things like information for a specific job or sector. So data analysis, languages, coding, bookkeeping. And whereas once knowledge skills would have been the be-all and end-all, the internet and the availability of information have cheapened knowledge skills to some extent. Changes in society have done this too. Look at self-management skills. So what's this mean? This is more personal. So things like being persistent, being resourceful, being dependable, very much the how you do things. Yeah, as I say, more personality led. This is rather more interesting bit anyway, to me. Then the old transferable skills. Transferable skills, absolutely crucial. Creating, organizing, analyzing, repairing, definitely on the how side, but should we say that these are just learned skills? Are they just run-of-the-mill type skills? What do you have that is perhaps unique? What do you have in this skills mix that is unique? And therefore, what do you have to sell? What stands out that is unique? There may actually be some clues in the combination of these. So instead of thinking of them as silos, knowledge over there, self-management over here, personality-led, transferable how-to, think about where they blend. Perhaps it's the way that you handle knowledge that is unique. Perhaps there are clues in your transferable skills. Because it's this strength of skills that transcends the context. Let's work on this a little bit further. Skills identification. Let's look at zones here. So Gay Hendricks identified the 4 zones. Now, hopefully, we put the zone of incompetence just in outline, hoping that we're not going to spend too much time there. Although it came up on my Facebook feed this morning, the memories of compulsory costumes that we had to do in infant school for kids, and this enforced creativity absolutely blew my brain for a few years. Enforced creativity that was not in my comfort zone. Far too much in my stretch zone. But anyway, sometimes we and perhaps others are working in the zone of incompetence. In this zone, you're engaging in something you inherently do not understand. You're not particularly skilled at. It's basically something you're not good at. So it could just be playing musical instruments. You're just not gifted in that way. It's not your thing, and that's fine. We've all got one of those. Zone of competence. So in this zone, you're doing what you're efficient at, but you recognize that a lot of other people are efficient at it too. So you're not really distinguishing your capabilities in any particular way. You can do it, but so can Joe Bloggs or Jodie Bloggs sitting next to you. Zone of excellence. Now it starts to get a little bit more interesting. So in the zone, you're doing something you are skilled at. And often the zone of excellence is practiced and established over time. The organizational skills that many people at least claim to have, this is probably not an innate skill. It's probably not something that you're born with. And you can see that people, and perhaps you, operate in different ways, or operated when you were working in different ways when you're at home and when you're at work. So many of these things are learned. You've learned to be good at something, and that's absolutely fine. And many people operate in the zone of excellence and will continue to operate in the zone of excellence throughout their careers. That's all right. They're good at something. The zone of genius is something apart. So in this zone, you capitalize on your natural abilities, which are innate rather than learned. And this is the state. It's described as the state in which you get into when you're in the flow, when you find ceaseless inspiration, and also perhaps can come up with work that is distinguished, that is unique, and you're going beyond what other people are doing in that capacity. Let me give you an example. I was exploring zone of genius with a client, trying to help her construct her elevator pitch, and she was incredibly organized, a huge planner, loved her social events. She had a good group of friends, and she was the person that would organize every meetup and every trip away. You'll know the types, they're very useful. And she absolutely loved doing this and talked with great passion about this. And you might be thinking, well, loads of people are organized and loads of people are great planners. And the difference was how she was doing this. And that gave her the uniqueness. It gave her the edge. And it was the convergence of all these things together. So she had the social side, plus the attention to detail, her love of an Excel spreadsheet. Some people have it, some people don't. Her structured thought process. So this was her thing. But as I said, kind of a convergence of skills and personality. So that's why I said, when we looked at the skills continuum, it's not skills silos. There is definitely something I have learned about people's zone of genius that comes from this blend of skills, different types of skills. And in this situation, this client didn't see it as talent. So she'd always done this, but almost unconsciously. So until we started to delve deeper into this, she wasn't able to accept that this is something that not everyone can do. Let's have a little go at looking at the easier zone together. So I'd just like you to think, back in the zone of excellence, what are the things you're good at? Just think about it, note something down if you've got something to scribble on the front of you. What are the things that you're good at? This is actually just a really good thing to do. If your confidence has taken a little bit of a knock, sometimes you've just got to associate yourself once again with your skills. When you think about the things that you are good at, supposing, for example, you came up with organizational skills. Which of these things have you learned to be good at over time? And what are you good at in a work setting, but less so at home? Thinking about the differences in the work setting and the home setting allows you to see things that are perhaps a little bit more innate, a little bit more natural, and the learned behaviors. It's all good. You can use the excellent skills in a work setting. You don't have to go beyond excellence, but when you're thinking about career change, when you're thinking about pivots, it really helps to think about in a deep way what you're good at and what you can do. I am going to just zip and look through the chat, and any more ideas about what's where they are in the zone of excellence? What would you say that you are good at in a professional capacity? And I think my the regular ones that people say beyond organisation skills, I think communication skills in some capacity is often a work strength. Caroline, attention to detail, research, idea generation. Lovely ones. Okay, so you are detailed, you're very much detailed type. What else, guys? Bernie, what are you good at? Bernie, I suspect, is a super organizer. So if I take, for example, let me take attention to detail type skills. Let's just take organizational skills and communication skills in a workplace setting. So these are all zone of excellence skills. They're all things that you could base your pivot on. It's just that there might be something a little bit more. Supposing we were to go then a stage on from that and look at zone of genius, let's remind ourselves of the difference with this. So everyone has a zone of genius which is unique to them. It's described as the physical and mental space where your interests, passions, and skills converge to make you high performing. And it's your innate talents and passions. It's what comes naturally to you. It's said that no one can replicate this uniqueness, which is why I think it's to do with convergence of skills. So have a think and look where you've noted the excellent skills and think 1 degree beyond. Where could your zone of genius lie? Where do you do things differently to other people? Where are you in the zone? Now, sometimes this is not in a work setting, and that's why it can be slightly confusing to think through. But there is an element above. So you don't have to do this. You don't have to. I'll say come up with this immediately. But take this one away with you and have your post-its, your excellent post-its, things you do well that you know you do well, and then another one. What do you do? What is your unique skill set? What do you do a little bit differently? Where are you high performing? What are the clues for you? You got homework. It's just some questions, and I'll pop the slides through to you afterwards. These are questions with some that may lead you to discover some more clues about the zone of genius. So, when do you feel most alive and energized? What are you doing in this state? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? How are you doing this? When you join a social or work group, what is the unique thing that you bring to the party? When you join a social or work group, what's the unique thing that you bring to the party? What work do you do that doesn't seem like work? Oops. I'm always perplexed by people who go into wedding planning. I did it once, never want to go there again. So think through some questions to allow you to dig a little bit deeper. And then this question, are you overlooking something? A bit like an example that I gave you, the most common barrier to figuring this out, to owning your genius, is realizing that it's something that comes quite naturally to you. That we have a cultural thing about developing our weaknesses, and there is an argument out there that this is perhaps not the right approach, that we should develop our strengths. We should develop the things that we're really good at, the things we're naturally good at, perhaps in a zone of genius, the things that we've learned to be good at, perhaps in a zone of excellence. We should be developing those things and outsourcing those weaknesses. It's an outlook. So perfecting and honing your natural talents. There's also a cultural thing for copying other people's zone of genius. It's like those articles that pop up that someone says, my key to success is getting up at 4:30 a.m. and meditating and then going for a jog. And then I come back at 6:30 and I'm ready to start the day. And that has been the key to my, lovely. Perfect for some people, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be hugely successful if you follow the whims and ways of other people, whatever marvelous systems they have, whatever marvelous habits they have. It's about you. We don't need to recreate other people's zone of genius. It's about capitalizing on your own. We really like dealing with career spaghetti. So straightening out the old career spaghetti in people's heads is what I do along with Becky. Many people feel that they get to a certain stage and everything goes around and around in their heads and they can't see the wood for the trees anymore. That's the purpose of the career consultations, to do a little bit of spaghetti straightening. What do we do in the consultation? Well, we talk about where you are now and where you'd like to be, where you see yourself in 6 months' time. We look at what campaign or process will get you there. If possible, we like to talk about a few quick wins. And we talk through a little bit of your past. We talk about non-negotiables, must-haves for your next role. So if you would like a chat, you haven't talked to us recently, or you'd like a catch up, the easiest way to do this is to jump onto our website, coachingpartners.co.uk, and book into our diary from there. We have diary slots available for the next week and a half or so, and then we'll be taking a break for Christmas. So do come and talk to us and we'll work on that spaghetti. I'd like you to think about what actions you can take about the zones. For one, there's a cool book on this. This is written by a guy called Gay Hendricks, who's a psychologist. So that could be something for your Christmas stocking, but also to reflect on your zone of genius as you think about your next career step. Use it to take a considered step forward. It's thinking a little bit more deeply than transferable skills. It's thinking a bit more deeply than knowledge skills. Most people in the mid-career, midlife stage are looking for some form of meaningful work and tapping into the things that you're naturally good at, things you like doing, things you spend time on, is a way of identifying one aspect of meaningful, what is meaningful to you. So use it to take a considered step forward. Continue to define your own unique skill sets. sometimes we just need to press pause to think about what we're good at, to reconnect with what we're good at. People change. You need to work on this continuously. So continue to find your own unique skill set. And what's the point of it? Well, the end goal is to understand yourself a little bit better and to align this with your career project for the next stages. Okay, guys, I am going to stop record at this point.